We track our steps for heart health, we lift weights for muscle, but what if one of the biggest benefits of exercise is for a part of our well-being we almost never connect to the gym? Today, we're going to dive into this surprising, science-backed link between physical activity and our sexual health. It's a really crucial piece of our overall wellness puzzle. So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll see just how common this issue really is. Then, we'll get into the basic principle of why exercise even works in the first place. After that, we'll look at some very specific practices for both men and women. And finally, we'll pull it all together with one big unified takeaway. Okay, so to really get why this all matters, we first need to understand the sheer scale of the situation. It turns out that concerns about sexual health are way, way more common than most of us probably think. Just look at this number. A huge international study back in 2019 found that up to half of all adults report some form of sexual dysfunction. I mean, that's just staggering, right? This is not some fringe issue, it's a massive health concern affecting millions and millions of people. So with an issue this widespread, what if one of the most powerful and honestly most accessible solutions is something many of us already have in our back pocket? We are, of course, talking about exercise. All right, let's get into the why. What is actually going on inside our bodies when we exercise that has such a direct and powerful impact on our sexual health? The science here is pretty fascinating. Well, the benefits are really layered. It's not just one thing. First, you've got better vascular health. Think of it as improving the body's entire plumbing system, which means better blood flow everywhere it counts. Then you're strengthening those really deep pelvic floor muscles, which are absolutely key for function. On a neurological level, exercise kicks the sympathetic nervous system into gear, which is directly tied to arousal. And of course, it helps fend off underlying issues like heart disease and diabetes, which are often the root cause of these problems to begin with. Okay, time to get practical. Let's start with a really targeted technique for men, coming from physical therapist Dr. Arkady. And this goes way beyond just general fitness. We're talking about specific, deep muscle control. So Dr. Arkady makes this interesting argument that the standard Kegel exercise, the one everyone's heard of, isn't actually the most effective way to go. Instead, he suggests this totally different kind of internal contraction, focusing on the sensation of retracting the testicles inward, toward the body, to build real, deep, functional strength. So here's the technique itself. It's really a two-part move. First, you brace your core, like you're getting ready for someone to push you. Then, as you inhale, you focus on that internal lift, pulling everything inward. You hold that for about 5 seconds, and then, and this part is super important, you fully release and relax. This whole process engages muscles that those traditional exercises just completely miss. And the idea is to build up to it logically. You start lying down on your back, which is the easiest way to isolate the right muscles. Once you get the hang of that, you move to doing it while sitting, then while standing. And the final step is to actually integrate it into your walk. The goal is to build up to around 20 reps until the movement just feels totally natural. So to wrap it up for men, this whole practice is all about developing this really fine-tuned, targeted control over those deep muscles of the pelvic floor. And the idea is that this, in turn, will boost blood circulation and overall erectile function. Okay, let's switch gears now and focus on women. The research here is really interesting because it highlights not just the type of exercise that helps, but also something else that turns out to be incredibly important: timing. A really cool study from the Kinsey Institute looked into this. They honed in on a very specific group, women who were experiencing sexual side effects from taking antidepressants, to see if exercise could be a practical, effective solution for them. And the way they designed the study was just brilliant. Both groups did the exact same 30-minute workout 3 times a week. The only difference was when they did it. The experimental group worked out right before sexual activity, while the control group did their workout at a totally separate time. The big question was, does the immediate or acute effect of a workout matter most? And the results? They were crystal clear. The group that exercised right before sex reported a really significant jump in their sexual desire. This suggests that the immediate effects from a workout, that rush of blood flow and that activated nervous system, can have a really powerful and direct impact. But it's not just about timing. Another massive study found a very clear dose-response relationship. And what that basically means is, the more cardio women did each week, whether it was running, swimming, cycling, whatever, the lower their chances of sexual dysfunction were, and the higher their reported arousal and satisfaction. More cardio, more benefits. Simple as that. So after looking at the specifics for men and women, what's the big picture here? Let's bring all of this together and really zero in on the key actions that seem to apply to pretty much everyone. So when you put it all side by side, you can see that while the specific exercises might differ a little, the main idea is exactly the same. For men, it's about a combination of that targeted muscle control and general cardio. For women, it's about consistent, modern exercise with that extra powerful boost when you time it strategically. But look at the outcome. It's improved function, desire, and satisfaction across the board. At the end of the day, what this all comes down to is that the research is overwhelmingly clear. Whether it's those specific targeted contractions or just a 30-minute run, the simple act of moving your body intentionally and consistently is a fundamental cornerstone of your sexual health. So that leaves us with one final thought. Knowing that there's this powerful, direct link between physical activity and this really vital part of our health, what's one small, intentional change you can make to bring a little more movement into your life?